Have you ever watched someone lose control over the smallest thing? A traffic jam, a delayed message, a colleague's comment, and in that moment of explosion they destroy hours, days, sometimes years of trust and respect. Now imagine the opposite. A person so mentally unshakable that others feel uncomfortable around them. Not because this person is cold, but because they possess something rare, something that seems superhuman. A mind that does not react, a mind that decides. Today you will discover the 5 ancient principles that Japanese warriors used to build this level of mental control. And I warn you now, when you truly master this, people will fear you. Not your strength, but your stillness. Before we begin, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and activate the notification bell so you receive all our future content. Thank you for your attention. Back to the video. Feudal Japan, Satsuma Province, year 1547. There lived a young man named Hideaki, who had a problem that would destroy his future. He could not control his reactions. When his father corrected him, Hideaki's face would burn with rage. When someone questioned him, his voice would rise instantly. When training became difficult, frustration would consume him so completely that he would throw his bakken to the ground and storm away. Every morning he would promise himself, "Today will be different. Today, I will stay calm." And every afternoon his emotions would seize control again. His sensei warned him, "A warrior who cannot control his mind is a weapon in the enemy's hands." But Hideaki did not understand. He thought control meant suppressing feelings, pushing them down, pretending they did not exist. So he would try to hold everything inside until the pressure became unbearable, and he would explode with twice the intensity. The other students began to avoid him, not because he was cruel, but because he was unpredictable. One moment calm, the next erupting like a volcano. His father, a respected samurai, watched with growing concern. In battle, this weakness would be fatal. An enemy only needed to provoke the right reaction, and Hideaki would abandon all strategy, all technique, all reason. Then came the day that changed everything. During a training session, Hideaki missed a strike and immediately slammed his sword into the dirt, shouting in frustration. The dojo went silent, and from the corner of the room, an old man spoke for the first time. His name was Takeda, a wandering swordsman who had been observing for 3 days. "Why do you believe your emotions are the problem?" Hideaki turned, still breathing hard. "Because I cannot control them." Takeda stood slowly. "You cannot control them because you are fighting the wrong battle. You think the enemy is your anger, your frustration, your fear. But these are just symptoms. The real enemy is the space between trigger and response. And in that space, you have built nothing." The old man walked to the center of the dojo. "I will teach you what my master taught me, the 5 foundations of Fudoshin, the immovable mind. But I warn you, this training will be more difficult than any physical challenge you have faced, because we are not going to suppress your reactions. We are going to kill the person who reacts, and in his place, we will build someone new. Are you willing to die so a warrior can be born?" Hideaki did not understand the question completely, but something in Takeda's eyes told him this was his only path. "Yes. Then tomorrow at dawn, meet me at the base of Mount Kirishima, if you can keep up." The next morning, Hideaki arrived before sunrise. Takeda was already there, beginning to climb. For 8 hours they climbed without stopping. Hideaki's legs screamed, his lungs burned. 3 times he wanted to quit. 3 times he looked at Takeda's back, steady and unshakable, and forced himself to continue. When they reached a clearing near the summit, Hideaki collapsed. Takeda sat calmly, not even breathing hard. "Do you know why we climbed? To build endurance? No. To show you that your body will beg you to stop long before you are actually finished. Your emotions are the same. They will scream at you to react long before there is any real reason. And now I will teach you the first foundation, the first principle. Takeda called Shinin no Ketsui, the decision of identity. He explained it like this: right now, You are trying to control your reactions as if they are separate from you. You wake up and wonder, will I stay calm today? This is why you fail. Because you are negotiating with yourself every single moment. A true warrior does not negotiate. He decides once who he is, and then that identity makes every choice. Hideaki listened, but did not fully grasp it. Takeda continued, "Tonight, you will make an oath, not to try to control your emotions, but to declare that you are someone whose mind does not waver. You will speak this oath aloud to me, and once spoken, it becomes law. Not motivation, law." Hideaki felt fear rise in his chest. What if I break it? Then you are not the person you claim to be, and you will live with that truth. This is the weight of oath. It does not prevent failure through willpower. It prevents failure through identity. That night, under the stars, Hideaki spoke the words Takeda gave him. I am a warrior whose mind is immovable. External chaos does not enter my internal world. I do not react, I decide. And when he spoke those words, something shifted. Not in his feelings, but in his relationship to them. He had drawn a line. On one side was the old Hideaki, who exploded at every provocation. On the other side was the warrior he claimed to be. And now every moment would reveal which one was real. The next morning, Takeda began testing him immediately. During meditation, he would suddenly clap loudly behind Hideaki's head. During sword practice, he would criticize Hideaki's form with harsh words. During meals, he would knock Hideaki's food to the ground. And each time, Hideaki felt the old reaction surging, the heat in his face, the tightness in his chest. But now there was a space, a tiny gap where he could remember the oath. I am a warrior whose mind is immovable. The first day, he failed 6 times. Small reactions, flashes of anger that he could not stop. But something was different. Each failure felt like breaking a sacred promise, not just disappointing himself. And that weight was far heavier than any guilt. By day 7, the failures dropped to 3. By day 15, to 1. Then Takeda taught the second foundation, Jikoku no Fudo, the immovable hour. You have made progress with your identity, but your mind is still weak in one area. You believe that mental discipline is something you practice when you remember, when you feel like it, when the situation demands it. This is why you will eventually fail. Because discipline that depends on mood is not discipline. It is just temporary performance. Hideaki listened carefully. Takeda explained further. From now on, at the exact same time every day, you will perform a specific practice to strengthen your mind. Not when convenient, not when motivated, at the exact same hour. We will choose dawn, the moment the sun touches the mountain. At that moment, you will sit in meditation for the time it takes a stick of incense to burn. Not longer, not shorter, exact. And you will never miss. Not for weather, not for sickness, not for emotion. This removes the variable of decision. You are not strong enough yet to decide correctly every morning. So we remove the decision. Hideaki wanted to argue. What if I truly cannot? Then you have broken your oath and you are not a warrior. You are just a person who pretends. The harshness of this truth struck deep. But Hideaki understood now that Takeda was not being cruel. He was being precise. Softness would not build an immovable mind, only absolute standards would. So every dawn, as the first light touched the peak of Kirishima, Hideaki sat. Rain, cold, exhaustion, it did not matter. The hour was law. And something unexpected happened. After 30 days of never missing, his mind began to trust him. The constant negotiation, the mental energy spent on should I or should I not, completely disappeared. His mind knew that at dawn the body would sit, no discussion necessary. And this created a fortress, a single point of absolute reliability that began to spread to other areas. If he could trust himself in this, perhaps he could trust himself in everything. On day 37, Takeda taught the third foundation, while they practiced sword forms. You are learning identity and rhythm, but your technique is still sloppy. Why? Because you practice with variation. Every strike is slightly different. Every step has minor changes. You think this is natural, but it is actually destroying your progress. Hideaki did not understand. Shouldn't I adapt to each situation? Takeda shook his head. First, you must build the perfect form. In Japanese sword arts, we call this kata, the exactly repeated pattern. You will practice the same sequence 1,000 times with zero variation. Not almost the same, exactly the same. Foot placement identical, breathing identical, even your facial expression identical. This sounds boring to the weak mind, but to the warrior, it is sacred. Because when you remove all variation, you remove all mental interference. Your body learns so deeply that thinking is no longer required. Hideaki spent the next 40 days performing the same 8-movement sequence. At first it was torturous. His mind screamed for novelty, for change, for anything different. But Takeda would stand beside him watching with absolute attention. Slower, your third step was 2 inches too wide. Again, your breath changed on the 5th movement. Again. And slowly, something remarkable emerged. The sequence became part of him. Not something he did, but something he was. And when sparring against other students, his body would execute the movements without thought, without hesitation, without the interference of emotion. His reactions, which used to be wild and uncontrolled, became precise and intentional, because he had practiced mental stillness through physical repetition until the two were inseparable. By day 60, Hideaki believed he had mastered control. Then Takeda introduced the 4th foundation during an evening conversation. You have done well, but now comes the most dangerous trap. You will face a day when you are tired, sick, or discouraged. And on that day you will think, I have been so disciplined, surely I can skip just once? And that thought will destroy everything you have built. Hideaki protested. But if I am truly exhausted, wouldn't it be wise to rest? Takeda's eyes became sharp. Wisdom and weakness often wear the same mask. I'm not saying you should never rest. I am saying you should never have a day of zero. We call this principle Resho Nashi, no gaps in practice. On your worst day, you still do something, even if it is 1/10 of normal. Because momentum is more powerful than perfection. The warrior who trains poorly every single day will surpass the warrior who trains perfectly but misses days. Takeda made it concrete. On days you cannot complete your full meditation, you sit for 5 breaths. On days you cannot practice full sword forms, you practice 3 movements. But 0 is death. 0 breaks the chain. 0 gives permission for 0 tomorrow. Your mind is watching you constantly to see if you mean what you say. And the moment you accept 0, your mind learns that your oaths are negotiable. Hideaki implemented this immediately. And true to Takeda's prediction, on day 73, Hideaki woke with fever. His head pounded, his body ached. Every part of him wanted to stay in bed, but he remembered, no gaps. He sat at dawn, barely able to focus, for exactly 5 breaths. He performed 3 movements of his kata, sloppy and weak. And then he rested, but he had not reached 0. And when the fever passed 2 days later, returning to full practice was effortless. There was no gap to cross, no momentum to rebuild. The chain was unbroken. On day 80, Takeda taught the 5th and final foundation during a walk through the forest. You have built identity, rhythm, precision, and consistency. But there is one last weakness that will destroy you if not addressed. You still make decisions in the moment. When someone insults you, you pause and think, how should I respond? When difficulty appears, you stop and consider what to do. And in that pause, in that moment of consideration, weakness enters. Hideaki did not understand. Isn't thinking before acting wise? Not when the situation is predictable. Most triggers in life are not unique. They are variations of the same patterns. Someone disrespects you. Something breaks your routine. Unexpected pain or difficulty arrives. These happen again and again. So why are you deciding your response in the moment, when your emotions are strongest and your judgment is weakest? Instead, decide now, when you are calm. We call this principle Zen no Ketsujun, pre-deciding your responses. Takeda explained the practice. You will imagine every situation that typically makes you react. See it clearly in your mind. Then decide, while calm, exactly how you will respond. Not how you hope to respond, exactly what you will do. Someone insults you, you will breathe 3 times and then speak calmly or walk away, pre-decided. Training becomes difficult. You will continue for exactly 10 more movements and then rest with dignity, pre-decided. Unexpected change disrupts your day. You will pause for 5 breaths and then adapt your schedule, pre-decided. When the actual situation arrives, you are not making a choice. You are executing a choice already made. Hideaki spent 3 days writing every trigger he knew. Disrespect, fatigue, frustration, fear, physical pain, criticism, failure. For each one, he decided his exact response while his mind was clear, and he memorized these responses as carefully as sword techniques. Then Takeda tested him. He insulted Hideaki's family. He destroyed something Hideaki valued. He changed training plans without warning. And every single time, Hideaki's response was instant and controlled. Not because he suppressed emotion, but because the decision had already been made. There was nothing to negotiate. On day 100, Takeda told Hideaki the training was complete. You are not the same person who climbed this mountain. And Hideaki knew this was true. Not because his emotions had disappeared. He still felt anger, frustration, fear. But these feelings no longer controlled him. They arose and passed like weather, noticed, but not obeyed. His mind had become something solid, something unshakable. When they returned to the dojo, everyone noticed immediately. Hideaki moved differently, spoke differently. Even his silence had changed. It was no longer the quiet of someone holding back an explosion. It was the stillness of someone who had nothing to prove. During sparring, opponents tried to provoke him, to make him angry so he would become sloppy. But there was nothing to provoke. His mind did not waver. One student, frustrated, asked him how he changed so completely. Hideaki answered with words Takeda had taught him. I did not change. I died. The person who reacted without thinking, who made promises he could not keep, who let external chaos enter his internal world, that person is gone. I am what remained after he was sacrificed. Word of Hideaki's transformation spread, and Takeda taught him one final concept before leaving. This level of mental discipline will make others uncomfortable. They will call you rigid, obsessive, cold. They will say you take things too seriously. They will mock your consistency and your standards. And you must understand what this really means. When people fear your discipline, when they feel uncomfortable around your unshakable mind, you have reached the correct level. Because most people are controlled by their reactions. Their mood determines their day. Their emotions decide their choices. They are leaves blown by every wind. And when they encounter someone who is not, it shows them their own weakness. And that is unbearable. So they will try to pull you down. They will offer you permission to slack, to indulge, to be normal again. And the moment you accept, you prove you were never truly transformed. Hideaki understood, and he made peace with becoming someone that others found unsettling. Because he had touched something real. He had built a mind that did not break under pressure, and that was worth any social cost. Years later, Hideaki would become known throughout the province not for his sword skill, though it was exceptional, but for his immovable presence. In battle, while others panicked, he remained calm. In politics, while others reacted emotionally, he responded with precision. In personal life, while others were thrown by every small difficulty, he maintained absolute steadiness. And people did fear him. Not because he was violent, but because he was unmoved. He had mastered what the samurai called fudoshin, a mind that external forces could not disturb. And this power came not from talent, not from birth, not from luck. It came from 5 simple foundations that anyone could build if they were willing to pay the price. Let me be direct with you now. These 5 principles that transformed Hideaki are not theory. They are not philosophy. They are practical technology for building mental strength that others cannot understand. The first foundation, Shinin no Ketsui, identity decision. You must stop negotiating with yourself about who you are. Declare it once with the weight of an oath, and then live as if that declaration is law. I am someone whose mind does not waver. Not I will try to stay calm. Not I want to be disciplined. I am. And then every action either confirms or contradicts this identity. There is no middle ground. The second foundation, Jikoku no Fudo, immovable hour. Choose one practice that strengthens your mind and perform it at the exact same time every single day. This removes decision fatigue and builds a foundation of absolute reliability. Your mind learns to trust you, and that trust becomes the bedrock of everything else. The third foundation, kata perfection. Practice one sequence, one pattern, one form, with zero variation until it becomes deeper than thought. This trains your nervous system to operate without emotional interference. When chaos comes, your body knows what to do before your mind can panic. The fourth foundation, Resho Nashi, no gaps. On your worst day, do something. Never zero. Because momentum is everything, and a single gap gives permission for more gaps. The warrior who never misses, even poorly, will always surpass the warrior who performs perfectly but inconsistently. The fifth foundation, Zen no Ketsujun, pre-decision. Stop making choices when your emotions are strong. Decide now, while calm, exactly how you will respond to every predictable trigger. When the moment comes, you are not choosing, you are executing, and this removes hesitation completely. These 5 foundations work together like the 5 fingers of a fist. Individually, they are useful. Together, they are unstoppable. But I will tell you the truth that no one wants to hear. This path is not for everyone. Most people prefer the comfort of blaming their reactions on circumstances. It was a bad day. They made me angry. I was too tired. These excuses allow them to stay weak while feeling justified. The warrior path requires you to abandon all excuses. You are responsible for your internal state regardless of external conditions. And this responsibility is heavy. It means you can never again say, I could not help it. Because you can. You simply must be willing to sacrifice the version of yourself that reacts without thinking. And here is what will happen when you truly commit to this. People will notice. Your friends will ask if something is wrong because you stopped engaging in drama. Your family will feel uncomfortable because you no longer react to their provocations. Colleagues will call you intense because you maintain standards they abandoned. And all of this is proof you are on the correct path. Because the immovable mind is rare. It is unsettling. It reveals weakness in others simply by existing. And weak people will always try to destroy what they cannot understand. You must make peace with this. Your discipline will cost you relationships with people who require you to stay small. And that is the price of transformation. But what you gain is freedom. True freedom. Not the false freedom of doing whatever you feel like, but the real freedom of being unmoved by external chaos. You become the author of your internal experience. And this is power that most people will never know. So I ask you now, are you willing to build this? Not to try, to build. Because trying is what weak people do when they want the result without the sacrifice. Warriors do not try. They decide and then execute until the thing is done or they are dead. If you are ready, begin today. Decide your identity and speak it aloud as an oath. Choose your immovable hour and mark it as sacred. Select one pattern to perfect through exact repetition. Commit to never reaching zero, no matter what. And write your pre-decisions for every trigger you know. Do this for 100 days without negotiation, and you will not recognize yourself. Not because you became someone new, but because you killed the weak version and allowed the warrior to emerge. If you found value in this video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all future content. Remember, discipline only feels difficult when there is too little of it. When you have enough, It becomes identity. If you have made it this far, thank you very much for your attention. Until the next video.